Let's go to Chicago, where Chicago police officers engaged in misconduct ranging from domestic violence to excessive force against civilians to drunken driving, many paying little to no penalty. Publica Illinois and the Chicago Tribune investigated over 300 cases involving Chicago cops and found that 85% of the suspensions were either significantly reduced or overturned. Joining us via FaceTime from Chicago is Jody Cohen, a reporter with Publica Illinois, one of the authors of this report. Wow. Talk about no shock there, where cops are getting away with misconduct.
Yes, we did an investigation where we looked at all the cases where officers filed grievances through their union to challenge punishments, mostly suspensions, and took a look at what happens when they file appeals. And we found that in 85% of the cases, they either get a smaller punishment or no punishment at all.
And where are the likes of David Clark? You know, where are the Blue Lives Matter people who want to talk about, you know, holding people accountable? The bottom line is police officers do not want to be held accountable. And who are the folks overturning the suspensions? Are they fellow police officers?
So what happens is when an officer files a grievance, it either goes to an arbitrator, an independent arbitrator, or the city settles. So they'll decide not to go to arbitration and they'll come to some sort of settlement agreement. That happens in about half the cases. And when they settle, they usually end up with a cut in the suspension time. And sometimes some of the charges are expunged from their records. So they might be charged with making a false statement. That's one where we found officers would get that finding eliminated from their records, and that finding of making a false statement is considered one of the worst charges against a police officer.
And of course, the police union, they're perfectly fine with all of this.
All of these grievances are backed by the union. So it's part of the union contract, part of the Fraternal Order of Police contract in Chicago. It lays out this grievance process.
All right, then. Well, Jody, we surely appreciate it. Great job. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cops getting off, folks. Tiffany?
These are the same Fraternal Order of Police that came out and endorsed Donald Trump. They're the same Fraternal Order of Police that did not want to support Beyonce at her concert in Florida after the Lemonade album came out because they thought it was too black. This is not surprising, and it is outrageous for us to continue to have these conversations, to think about how police are getting away with criminal activity, and the criminals that they are arresting do not have the same privileges or opportunities that the police who have unions do. And it is hard to see also that these police officers who are getting off with it come back to the workplace and continue to keep up with this outrageous behavior.
Well, the first thing I'd like to see is where are the locations of these incidences. I'd almost guarantee you they're on the south side of Chicago,
Absolutely.
on the west
Right.
side. Number two, what's troubling to me is the one thing that she mentioned that I think is very important is the fact that they eliminated them making false statements on a report from the adjudication of this. If you have a person walking around with a gun on their side and they can be judge, jury, and executioner at any given time, that's allowed to continuously make false statements and know that through the adjudication process with the union, it can be taken off their record and still get their pension and not go to jail,
they're going to do it.
that's a problem.
Real quick, Ray, it's your mic before I go to break.
I think ultimately I would like to hear from these law and order Americans who voted Donald Trump in, who want all this type of law enforcement to increase. We see an absence of their voice when we see law enforcement officers being the one violating the laws. I'd be curious to hear from them.
I think it's a bunch of hypocrites, and I've said this before, and Delaney would probably agree. As a conservative, we believe in small government. We believe in holding government accountable, yet you have a structure of government that practically has no limitations. They can do whatever they want, and no one's saying these are the standards by which you have to exist and operate under.
And that's because candidates love cop endorsements.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.